you want to harness digital intelligence and harness digital capital to drive your costs down, drive your productivity up, improve your products, improve your services. You want to look for that revolutionary new product. You want to look for that revolutionary new service. You want to improve your securities. You want to revolutionize your capital structure. What I say oftentimes is, yeah, you want to 10x your money, you buy Bitcoin. You want 100x your money, you buy Bitcoin with somebody else's money. You want 1,000x your money, you buy Bitcoin with someone else's money, and then you lever the Bitcoin. And so my advice is, think about innovative ways to build the most powerful capital structure in the world while you're thinking about ways to actually build the most compelling transformational products or services in this world. And if you can't do that, at the very least, make sure that you yourself are 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times smarter, faster, stronger, and put yourself on the top of Mount Everest.
We rebranded the company this year from MicroStrategy to Strategy. Why did we do it? And what is the significance of the rebrand?
You know, a great principle of design is the design's not perfect until there's nothing left to take away. And I think Apple proved that with designs like the iPhone, where they just kept pushing the edge of the envelope. Can I take away the keypad? Can I take away one more button? And I think if you look at the history of great consumer products, the more elegant, the simpler it is, the more powerful it is. So when we looked at our brand, we realized that we had outgrown it. MicroStrategy made sense when we brought the company to the marketplace back in the early 90s. Micro was a forward-looking idea. We were a strategic consulting company, and Micro signified that we were going to incorporate technology into decision support. But of course, 30 years later, technology is in the fabric of everything. It was no longer necessary to signal that you had microprocessors backing what your product was. And you know, we looked at all of the great brands in the world, Google, Amazon. We thought about people we can remember. Eventually, we remember them by their first name or their one name. Julius Caesar became Caesar. Napoleon Bonaparte became Napoleon. Madonna, Prince, Sting. We have an international customer base. We have an international shareholder base. And what we realized is we had the opportunity to take ownership of perhaps one of the greatest words in the English language, which is the language of commerce and technology in the world. So if you ask people, you know, give me 10 words in the English language that are universally positive, they connote insight, they're welcome in any conversation. You know, certainly one of the most powerful words in the English language is hope. But if you said, what's a powerful word in business, the most powerful word in business, I believe it's strategy. You can't be successful in business without strategy. You need an investment strategy. You need a technology strategy. You can't be successful as a superpower without a political strategy, a defense strategy. Strategy has just got incredible power. After 30 years of seeing people misspell the company name, they would spell it MicroStrategies. I used to meet our customers, and I would meet customers that have been doing business with us for 10 years, and they said, yeah, so you're from MicroStrategies? And so I had real market feedback, and my real world experience combined with my theoretical experience suggested to me that if you own strategy.com and if there is no greater company than you squatting on the strategy handle, then less is more. Take away the micro. Strategy is a word that it's much easier to spell, easier to say, easier to see, easier to remember, easier to type. And I think you can see it here at the conference when you look around and you see the strategy branding. One of the interesting nuances of words is if you want to make the word 4 times weaker, make it twice as long. When you stretch it, the font gets smaller. And so we've taken a word and we've made it 4 times stronger, and we've made it international. And how many billions of school children will be taught how to spell strategy? And the answer is all of them. And how many, if you asked 1 billion people, do you react favorably to the word strategy? Every one of them. If you went to the same sample set and said, how many of you like MicroStrategy and think, how many of you think MicroStrategy is a good idea? And the answer is most people, 1% of them will recognize it, and half of them will think, why would I want a MicroStrategy when I could have a bigger, a macro strategy or a global strategy or a digital strategy? So we thought now is the time, because we do have this international need to communicate to 1 billion people. And we have, as we pointed out on our earnings call a few days ago, we now have 55 million beneficiaries in the world. And so it's time for us to go global. It's time for us to provide the world with a consumer brand that stands for empowerment, that stands for success, that's egalitarian, that's unifying, and that's powerful.
Why is it important to be bold as you go through a digital transformation of your organization?
Consensus thinking won't result in success in a world of 400 million competitive companies. If you walk down the street and you ask 100 people, do you think I should do this? And most of them agree with you, then there's no way for you to break free of that competitive dilemma. So, the idea that we should sell products and take the dollar, or the idea that we should speak English, or the idea that we should work in offices, or the idea that we should use a computer, these are all great strategies when everybody else disagrees with you, when you're the first. But at some point, if you find yourself stuck in a competitive dilemma, when you can't break free, then you have to do something that's bold, and that means doing something that if you walk down the street and ask 100 people, do they think you should do it? If 95 of them said no, then probably it's a getting to be popular bold decision. If 99 of them said no, then it might work for you. It might just work. And the example of that is you invest in Amazon when everybody thinks Amazon is a stupid idea going bankrupt, and that's when you'll make 30x your money. And in the summer of 2020, every single person in the world agreed that Amazon was critical to the civilization and you should buy Amazon stock. Nobody made any money. It's the worst performing, right, of the Magnificent Seven. So you have to do something which is bold, and you have to think from first principles. Like bold starts with a B. Look at our logo, and where do you see the B? When we shrunk our brand to strategy, we created space in our brand for a bold innovation, the bold innovation on your lapel pin. If you think about the 10 most popular symbols in the world, think about the most popular iconic symbols in the world. I dare you to think through 10 and list them. I think most people would say the dollar. They might say the cross. right? They might say, you know, they might say the Islamic Crescent. And that be. I don't know where we sit in the top 10, but I'm quite sure that we catapulted ourselves into having a corporate logo that is one of the 10 most recognizable symbols on Earth. And with 8 billion people competing for recognition, that's no mean feat. Our decision with Bitcoin was driven out of experience. We had 30 years of business experience. It was driven out of realization, right? We embrace reality, and after you tried, you know, there's this phrase, this joke about, you know, Winston Churchill said it about Americans. He said, Americans, they'll do the right thing after they've tried everything else. And we had tried everything else. And when you've tried everything that's not bold, when you've tried everything conventional, then you either have the courage to take a risk, or you know, you suffer this life of quiet desperation, and you know, in a mediocre fashion, you fade from history. And we decided that we were going to not fade from history in a mediocre fashion. We had to take a risk, and that risk was to recapitalize the company on an asset which, on paper, from first principles, looks better. It looks like a big tech monopoly. It looks like digital gold. If it's digital gold, it's 100 times better than gold. If it's the next unrecognized digital monopoly, it's going to grow by 10 to 30. Right? Find something everybody needs, nobody can stop, and few people understand, right? Where most people just don't agree with you. And when it's the non-consensus thing from first principles, there is an opportunity. And we've seen these things throughout the history of business. We were inspired and we were catalyzed by our history and by the events of 2020, and I think the results speak for themselves.